A Russian soldier who attempted to surrender to a Ukrainian drone has been bombed by Russian troops. The wounded soldier was found by drone operator Zelensky, Consolidated Brigade, Predator, and Patrol Police Department. A video posted on X social media platform shows how the wounded Russian soldier signaled to a Ukrainian drone his willingness to surrender. In response, Ukrainian troops dropped bundles of water, food, and medicine on the soldier and agreed to take him a prisoner instead of killing him. However, before the Ukrainian troops reached the Russian soldier, the latter was killed in Russian bombing.
After the destruction of Russian helicopters with the help of Magura V5 drones, the number of sorties by the occupiers has decreased slightly. At the same time, according to the spokesman of the Ukrainian Navy, Dmitry Pletenchuk, Russian aviation in the skies over the Black Sea remains a problem for Ukraine. After the hit, there is supposedly a dynamic in the number of sorties. Their number has decreased slightly, but they are still forced to use helicopters for counter-drone warfare. This is their main task: patrolling, identifying and destroying our sea drones. They have not abandoned this practice, in addition to the fact that they have no choice. They never fully understand the situation on the first try, Pletenchuk said on the air of the telethon. He explained that the Russians have this habit only after repeated precise strikes by the Ukrainian armed forces do they begin to understand that the situation has changed and draw certain conclusions. Therefore, the picture basically remains more or less constant, but I hope that at some point it will change in the context of the use of aviation in the Black Sea, because this is actually a problem for us. The Russians continue to dominate the airspace around Crimea in the eastern part of the Black Sea at a minimum, including with tactical aviation, the speaker emphasized. He also added that the invaders near the Crimean Bridge continue to restore the protective barrier from the naval drones of the Ukrainian Defense Forces, which was damaged as a result of storms. When the weather gets a little better, several units go out to the area of the Crimean Bridge. These are tugboats, a floating crane, and supposedly even Coast Guard boats, the military man said. Recall on December 31st, 2024, the military of the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine destroyed an air target for the first time in the world using a Magura V5 attack naval drone equipped with missile weapons. This happened during a battle in the Black Sea near Cape Tarkankut in the temporarily occupied Crimea. A Russian Mi-8 helicopter was destroyed. A similar enemy helicopter was damaged by fire and was able to reach its base airfield. It was later reported that another similar Russian machine was destroyed. Iranian Navy spokesman Dmitry Pletenchuk suggested that Russian occupiers will probably have to change tactics. At the same time, the Russians have enough units like the Mi-8 because they produce it themselves. However, shooting down a military helicopter is a loss for the enemy because we are talking about a trained crew whose training takes years. Ukraine has created a new drone that is supposed to hunt enemy ships. We are talking about the Black Widow 2 surface drone, which is only 1 meter long. It is supposed to hit surface targets, including small boats of the Russian armed forces. The new drone was developed by the company Hardcat Drones, Business Insider reports. At the same time, the new drone is also ideal for patrolling. The Black Widow 2 is a battery-powered, cost-effective, versatile, and lightweight platform that is 1 meter long and weighs 8 kilograms. It has a maximum speed of 40 kilometers per hour and an operational range of up to 10 kilometers. The rechargeable onboard battery provides the USV with several hours of runtime and can be put on standby to allow it to loiter for several days, lying in wait for targets to appear. The small size allows the drone to be effective even in narrow sections of the river. A prototype of such a drone was first demonstrated in October 2024 during the Defense Tech Valley Summit in Kyiv. It has already undergone testing and is now undergoing combat testing as part of 2 brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces. The order from the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine for a new drone was received back in December 2023 when active fighting was taking place on the left bank of the Kherson region in the area of the Cossack camps. Deputy Director of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, John Hardy, is confident that the new drone will be actively used by the Ukrainian armed forces on the Dnieper River, especially in defensive battles. It was first shown at the Brave One-sponsored Defense Tech Valley Investment Summit in October. According to Militani, the developers said it was intended to design a version of the Black Widow that could clear waterborne anchored mines, as well as a larger, more capable version of the USV. The new drone reportedly costs less than $2,400, and the company will soon be able to produce around 100 boats per month. Valery Ryabik, a military expert and development director of the Defense Express Company of Ukraine, noted that the destruction of the Engels oil depot, which supplied vital fuel for Russian strategic aviation aircraft, is a serious blow to Russia. He said this on the Espresso TV channel. The Engels oil depot and the Engels 2 airbase are interconnected. The oil depot is a subdivision of the so-called Rosreserve and is called Krystal. It provides fuel to Russian strategic aviation aircraft, noted Ryabik. According to the development director of Defense Express, the damage to the Engels oil depot is an extremely important event, as the strategic reserves of special fuel used by Tu-95 and other Russian strategic aviation aircraft are the so-called T1 fuel, which can be destroyed. It is worth noting that Russia's production capacity for this fuel is not that large. The Engels airfield is also used for technical work and aircraft maintenance. Despite the fact that most of the aircraft have been transferred to other airfields, they still have to periodically arrive for refueling and maintenance, explained Ryabik. The military expert also added that Russia's strategic component is currently being partially immobilized due to the destruction of critical fuel stocks for Russian aviation. Military expert Alexander Kovalenko expressed that the strike on Engels, home to Russia's largest strategic aviation base, highlights the country's severe shortage of air defense systems. According to the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Russia has lost 1,038 air defense systems since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. While Russian forces lose around 30 air defense systems per month, they can only produce and repair a few, putting Russia in a critical shortage phase. Neither the USSR nor Russia has ever fully secured its airspace, with some areas having complete air defense, others partial coverage, and some with gaps. From 2022 to 2023, the Moscow region and Crimea were the most protected, while regions like Saratov had strong but not top-tier defense. Recently, there have been reports of exported air defense systems being deployed in Russian regions, suggesting that these contracted systems were seized or purchased to address the shortage of surface-to-air missiles. Kovalenko highlighted that the focus is on Saratov, not Moscow, and the latest strike's success is undeniable as Ukraine steadily depletes Russia's air defenses and critical infrastructure. Meanwhile, the Kremlin, standing at the Rubicon ahead of Donald Trump's inauguration, failed to demonstrate anything that would convince the 47th president of the US that negotiations, not pressure, were the way to go, the expert noted. Despite planning ultimatums and demands, Russia enters 2025 with uncertainty. However, considering President Zelensky's statements about strike drone and missile production, Ukraine hasn't even begun its strike on Russia yet. This has merely been preparation.